A surprising 2 out of 5 review for Arc Raiders from Eurogamer reignited the ongoing debate about AI use in games, eventually attracting Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to still be made by humans all the way around.
That's right, 100% made. This whole factory is populated by people working the gears and twisting the levers. And we're going to keep it like that for as long as we can. Accordingly, I found a way to cram a hot take about Last of Us Part 2 in this video, but wait for it, we'll get there eventually. For now, let's just talk about the topic at hand.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. Eurogamer's review, which published yesterday, rated the game Arc Raiders 2 out of 5 after praising nearly everything about the game's craft and experience. So, Lawrence, why is the rating so low?
Because games journalists, Bruce, they make no sense. We're always out here, too much water, 2 out of 10. It's not that simple, even though, boy, it is. A lot of people, I think, are delighted to take it that way. No, the writer took deep exception to the game's use of AI-generated voice lines for the game's NPCs. But yeah, it's not even as simple as that. It's not just AI bad, although that's part of it.
Yeah, that's true. So reviewer Rick Lane had extremely high praise for the way that the game constructs genuine human encounters, writing, quote, "In this ruined world where everyone is out to smash and grab whatever they can, you will regularly witness organic displays of de-escalation, armistice, and even jolly cooperation." And I can say that has happened to me a lot in Arc Raiders.
Yeah, same here. Lane also points out that the core theme of the game, and Bruce, you even mentioned this a lot, it's humans versus robots, as the players all take the role of scrappy survivalists driven underground by a race of hostile machines.
So accordingly, Lane finds the usage of AI impossible to ignore in Arc Raiders.
Yeah, Lane ends the review this way, quote, "For Arc Raiders to ride the wave of human sociability all the way to the bank, while also being so contemptuous of the thing that makes us social animals in its own workflow, carving up human voices and reassembling them like a digital Victor Frankenstein, demonstrates a lack of artistic integrity that I find impossible to ignore. However smartly designed Arc Raiders is, I cannot recommend it because Embark does not value the thing that makes it special."
Well written, I will say, because I read that passage and I was like, all right, I get it. So for some context here, Arc Raiders uses a text-to-speech AI model for its NPCs, but that model is trained on performances from human performers that are actually informed of that purpose, and they have the consent from those humans to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Arc Raiders design director Virgil Watkins specified how the system worked in a comment to PC Games N, saying, quote, "We hire and contract voice actors for it. It's part of their contract that we use it, or AI, for this purpose, and that allows us to do things like our ping system, where it's capable of saying every single item name, every single location name, and compass directions. That's how we can get that without needing to have someone come in for every time we create a new item for the game."
So Epic CEO and billionaire Tim Sweeney disagreed with the motivations behind the low review, posting that, quote, "Political opinions should go into op-eds, folks," in a reply to Eurogamer's post on X.
Okay. Sweeney expanded on that point in replies, stating that AI, quote, "increases human productivity in some areas by integer multiples," and that, quote, "views on whether this is a net good and should be rewarded or bad and should be fought against are speculative and generally distributed along political lines." Sweeney, I love you, but man, he is the alpha dork for real. So,
yeah, that's true. He then counters the pessimistic outlook of Eurogamer's reviewer by saying that, quote, "competition leads to building better games rather than employing fewer people."
Epic Games layoffs. In 2023, they laid off 830 employees.
Okay, all right.
Sweeney also dropped some deep game dev cred here, referencing 1991 ZZT, writing that he found fixed dialogue painfully limiting in game design. And yes, he's been around the block a million times, made a lot of games, built one of the biggest game studios, publishers ever. So his words carry meaning, but we'll move into opinion because I can't wait. It's already like biting at the back of my head. The problem is, and this is always the issue I feel like with business-minded tech dudes, is that the benefits that they promise are always speculative, maybe a year or two away, but the drawbacks are right now. So it's frustrating to hear Sweeney talk as though both of these things have equal weight, the drawbacks of AI versus the benefits. I don't know. I think it is kind of neat to hear every item called out in voice lines, but I feel like that doesn't I don't know that would earn the game another star from me, you know? But the thing is, I didn't really think about it. I didn't really notice it. And I think they do have a point that in game performances, like to get every voice actor in every language all together to read the names of 5 new items that they added, yeah, that would probably slow down the logistics of game production. It would balloon the budget. It just makes a game harder to maintain and add to over the years. So this is an example that Sweeney said where a game can offer more content or more competitive content. But is it meaningful, Bruce? I don't know. Would you rather a human voice actor read all the names of every suitcase in Arc Raiders to you?
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. And it's one of those things where like if I hear the voice that says, you know, Hornet over there or whatever, like it doesn't matter to me. It's cool. It's a neat thing that I love, but they could have brought in and paid someone to do it. So what I will say, there's an interesting, like, not even both sides to this, but Tim Sweeney has no leg to stand on. He's a billionaire. He runs an incredibly large corporation, the biggest video game in the world, or one of the biggest. And if he's like, you know, AI is great because we can increase productivity, he's looking because that means he doesn't have to hire people. Like, he's doing that to save money. Embark is actually a little bit of a different scenario. And Embark is like, I wouldn't say necessarily indie, but they are a smaller studio. They came from other larger studios and made their own. And so if Embark is like saving on money in order to make a better game, then there's a little bit of an argument there to say that maybe AI is helping them. I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I would rather they not use AI. I would rather they pay somebody to say every single item that they see in the game and not have to use AI to do it. But maybe Embark can go point at their books and be like, well, we couldn't have got this game done by this time at this quality if we hadn't used AI to speed up the process. Whereas like a Tim Sweeney or a Tim Cook or whatever, any other CEO that runs a $1 trillion, $1 billion corporation, just hire people. Come on, you can do it. So like that there's a little bit of a difference there. And like you said earlier about the benefits are speculative. The benefits were actually not speculative for Embark. They could speed up the process a little bit with AI. When it comes to looking forward, Lawrence, you're absolutely correct. They are looking, 5 years in the future, and they're like, we don't have to hire 10,000 people. All this money I get to give to myself and shareholders. Like, it's like, fuck you. Like, that's bullshit. So there's a bunch of different sides to this, and it's really complicated and nuanced. We'll get to my conclusion in a second, but I want you to talk about Last of Us Part 2 because we teased that at the beginning.
There's a reason, and I promise once I get there, hopefully it won't be as eye-rolling as it sounds. Because I think what I'm excited to hear from you, Bruce, is about the creative context of this review, and also the use of AI, and even the finals versus Arc Raiders, I think is pretty fascinating to compare. So normally, I hate it when a reviewer does exactly this. Like, game, great, but the pause wasn't on the button I wanted, so it's a 5 out of 10 or something like that. Taking one very personal, very like erratic, non-related issue and dinging a whole review for it. Normally I'm not a fan of that, but this I think is a different case. I think contextually, especially in Arc Raiders, using AI in a game that, is not only thematically about humans versus robots, but even mechanically, the reviewer did a great job of nailing the heart of the value of Arc Raiders, which is the volatility of other humans, but also their brilliance, their unexpected comedy. The reviewer even mentions players that they ran into in the game would speak in a way or deliver lines that an AI could not do or not fathom to do. And that's the soul of the game. Compared to the finals, where the AI is used for an announcer in like a dystopian future Running Man style competition, it almost makes sense that would be AI because it's an inhuman person celebrating this blood sport. It's not quite as violent or gritty as Running Man or something like that, but that's kind of the idea. So I get the creative contradiction with Arc Raiders compared to other games that might use AI in other ways. And here we go, Last of Us Part 2. That is one game where I can acknowledge that every part of the game is super well crafted by people who are at the top of their fields. Technically, visually, incredible game. But the narrative was so frustrating, and I don't even mean the twist, big moment, whatever. It even happened in the show. I actually kind of like that. But the way that the narrative forced itself into the gameplay experience, so it's not something you could ignore, but then ended so frustrating and so pretentious and so unsatisfactory, to me, undid a lot of the good work in the rest of that game. And even countered it, contradicted it on a base creative level. So that's one of a very few raft of games that I could see rating pretty low, even though the craft of it is all very exceptional. This is a harder case to sell, I think, because if you're purely within the experience of the game, it doesn't seem that contradictory. It's more having to be aware of the meta about AI and the fact that it's coming for people's jobs and the terror of all that. And certainly all that factors into when a game is released and when it's reviewed. So that none of that is foul, really. But it is an interesting comparison. I actually kind of liked the review. I'm kind of okay with the rating. It is a deeply personal rating, which I think also flows in the theme of everything else. But how do you feel about it, Bruce? How do you feel about specifically giving Arc Raiders a negative review because of the use of AI in context of what Arc Raiders is and what it does well?
Yeah, it is a great game. They really have made a great video game, and it is something like this is not a political standpoint like Tim Sweeney said. This is truly a game dev standpoint for AI. But I think that this reviewer is looking at it from a game dev perspective, which I think is awesome. And I think that's actually very, very hard to do. I don't necessarily know that it deserved the huge ding that it got, but I do appreciate the fact that they were like thinking about it 5 years in the future. They're thinking about how AI is going to affect the people that are making this game right now. And then in 5 years, maybe Embark is like, well, we did it so well with Arc Raiders in the finals, maybe we replace a few game devs, and then the game devs start to get to replace. And then I will say that Embark Studios is really good about making AI and putting AI into the game and then integrating it well. Like I would never have known if they didn't actually say that it was AI. That they're one of the few. There are not many other studios that I've seen use AI to great effect. Usually it's garbage. And most of the time we see AI in real life, it's all fucking trash. So like Embark Studios is pretty good at it. However, I'm gonna just say that Embark is probably going to continue to use AI and even more because we are buying the video game and playing it. And that is where we have to start thinking about, are we going to draw the line somewhere? Or are we okay with some artists using AI to great effect in their game and being like, not so bad? I actually think that is what the future is, Lawrence. I think human artists are going to use machines to do better work, but I don't think it's going to fully replace them. And there's a line there. I know that's the really hard, very weird line that no one can find right now. And I don't know that we'll ever find it. But I think that that's probably what's going to happen in the future, and that this will continue to happen this way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the market will decide. And I think it ultimately comes down to just how interesting the product is in the end. And I think that relates to the way in which developers use AI. If AI is at the core of everything, odds are the game will be extremely derivative, and theoretically the market won't really respond to that. That's kind of been the trend, is what I've noticed, is especially at the bigger budgets, games are struggling to figure out how to stand out because they all make very safe decisions, which is a byproduct of being so expensive. You can't really take a massive risk on something. So yeah, I feel like people will get, if Sweeney is correct and AI accelerates, it multiplies productivity of every developer, we'll just have more and more and more games. And I think the more games there are, the more exhausted people will get with games that don't do something distinct. So it might be a self-balancing issue where people need that human vibrance and spontaneity and originality to even stop to pay attention to anything. So it's got to be in balance. You have to make a ton of things, but each needs a human spark somewhere. Otherwise, it's just going to get lost in the static because there's already so many games. There's too many games for people to play now. So it makes me wonder when Sweeney talks about magnifying game production and how we all win from that. I'm not quite sure what that winning is, aside from competition driving prices down and flooding game stores with games that all seem like carbon copies of each other.
Yeah, not to draw this out too much, but like we are really, on the final frontier of AI, we're in the brand new frontier of AI because, whatever, Spotify has a couple of AI tracks now that are like, shooting up the charts. And those are just made by robots. So they're made by some human prompting a robot to make and everyone's mad about it. But they're getting listened to. People are listening to them. And I'm not saying that that's good. I'm saying that, like Lawrence just said, I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Eventually, people are going to be like, this is trash. Like, we've heard so much of it all the time. Clearly, it's made by a fucking robot. It's bad. Like, well, I want to hear music from a human. So I think we're going to get there. Right now, it seems scary because we have a lot of people using robots to make things, and then other people are consuming those as a novelty. I think they're kind of like, oh, that's fun. It's made by a robot. Ha ha ha. But I don't think in 2 years or 5 years, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're all going to be like, this is fucking slop. Like, get this out of here.
Yep. Yeah. It reminds me of the early days of computer generated special effects in films. You know, movies like Van Helsing and just all the garbage from the aughts that over relied on it. It was everywhere because studios were pursuing it as a means of producing bigger, flashier films without paying for blowing things up for real. And I remember the ubiquity of it and being like, all these movies look like trash, right? Is it just me? But unfortunately, the tech got better and it became an unavoidable part of the filmmaking process. But we still have films that are fucking weird. You know, Yorgos Lanthimos, he's not in a guild. Well, that's immaterial, but he's out there making weird shit. Begonia's out there telling weird stories without needing too many blobby CGI characters with capes punching each other. So I do think, yeah, we'll hit a balancing act, but I do think as a production technology, it'll be unavoidable, especially when your competitors are using it and drowning the one game you made and took 3 years to make with 5 releases they just put out today. So, yeah, competition is right, I guess. Sweeney's right about that.
It's scary. It really is really scary right now. You know what's not scary? Is that Inside Games is on your side.
That's right. Put all that aside and celebrate the simplicity of a free video game. We got one for you today. 12 is Better Than 6 is a video game that is now free on Steam until November 13th. Kind of like a top-down Western shooter, Hotline Miami in the Old West. But check it out. It's free. You got nothing to lose but your time. And speaking of that, thank you for watching this episode. Appreciate that. We're going to keep doing, we love doing this stuff, talking about video games and speculating about the future of stuff. We're going to keep doing this until the robots climb inside and hollow out our bodies and wear our skin to talk about how great AI is on the show.
Your support is what makes this episode and all the other episodes happen, so thank you very much. Watching the video helps a lot. Subscribing to the channel, doing a hype, if you know what that is, on mobile probably. We also have a Patreon if you want to support monetarily. All our content goes there for free. Each episode gets a free spicy meme from Lawrence's deep meme sack. Lawrence, I know you don't know what the meme is today, but do you go looking sometimes for one?
Sometimes, yeah. So the trick is, I've been chucking folders into my pictures folder, or I've been chucking memes into my pictures folder for 2 decades now, but I never rename anything. So it's kind of impossible to find specific images sometimes unless they were originally called what they're depicting. So, you know, it's a roll of the dice sometimes whether or not I can find anything specifically related. I'll see if I can find a robot meme today. But we'd like to, in contrast to that, we'd like to shout out some very human gamers that support the show directly. Jose Diaz, Ryan Daraberry, Chilled Monkey Brains, Buck, and Cesar Mendez. Thank you very much for the support and for that warm, fleshy skin we know you've got.